Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yep.
All right. Welcome everybody to the Biostats webinar, as Kelly has mentioned already. Let me just give you a quick overview of the webinar that we'll be conducting tonight. The first thing we want to do, and we'll introduce ourselves as peer mentors. There's 3 of us on tonight. We'll give you our basic role for biostats, what our role is in the classroom. We will also go through some information about how to install SPSS. I know some of you, everybody should be in that process this week. We were doing that. But we'll clarify some aspects of SPSS installation. We'll also give you some information about how to access and download your data sets that you will require for your application assignments. And we'll explicate those step-by-step guides that are also downloadable from the classroom to complete your assignment. We'll also give you some other resources as well, and as Kelly mentioned also, give you some tips to how to succeed in the course. Towards the end of the presentation, webinar, we can also open it up for some questions and answers. Pat, Kelly, and I will do our best to answer your questions at the end. You can type in your answers or your questions on the chat area. I know some people are already typing some there, and you can type them in as we're going through the webinar as well, and one of us will answer those as promptly as possible. Next slide. Our role as a peer mentor in the classroom is to help the students better understand biostatistics concepts. What we generally are there for is to clarify and give you added information, helpful information, and give you useful examples that might help your understanding of the basic biostatistic concepts. We're also there to help you with your SPSS installation. I know that many students have already have that installed, and some people are still having some difficulties with that. So you can, of course, contact us in the study group area so that we can help you with the installation. Also, we are here to help you using the SPSS to complete your application assignments. As I've mentioned, you'll be using this software throughout the semester, throughout the quarter, to complete your assignments. If you have a question regarding your step-by-step guides or even using the software modalities, then we're here to sort of facilitate that process. You can contact us for that as well. And I guess introduction of the peer mentors. I guess Pat and Kelly, do you guys want to go first and introduce yourselves to the students?
Sure, Kelly, why don't you start it off? Did we lose Kelly?
I'm not sure. I think she's muted, Pat.
Oh. All right, I'm going to try to unmute you, Kelly. How does...
Okay.
There, you're unmuted.
Can you hear me now? All right. Okay, everybody. My name is Kelly Ferris, and I have been a peer mentor now for, I guess, about 3 years. Myself and the other peer mentor who was unable to attend tonight for gone. He may be the peer mentor in some of you all courses, but we've been around for a few years now. And I am in the PhD program in public health with a concentration in community education. And I'm currently, hopefully, in my last quarter of dissertation work, but I'm here to help you in any way that I can. Even, you know, the students in the other course sections, and we'll talk about this later tonight in the webinar. but when you get ready to do one-on-one sessions, if I'm the only one available at your time, I'm at the time that you're looking for in the scheduling, then feel free to call on me, even if I'm not the peer mentor in your specific course section. So not much to know about me right now. I'm diving head in this dissertation, so I don't have a lot of time to do anything else. But I also work as a depression care manager. So that's just a little bit about me. And Patrick?
Sure. I've been a Walden student for a little bit over 2 years now. I'm also working on my PhD in public health, focusing on community health education. And I've been a peer mentor for the last 6 terms. And I took this course about 2 years ago. And in fact, I believe Kelly was the peer mentor in the course that I took.
I think so.
Yeah. And Eddie, you're up. How about you?
Okay. Hi, my name is Eddie Hernandez. I am on my 2nd year peer mentoring the 6125 biostatistics and the 8125, and I've also peer mentored the 8500, which is the advanced statistics course. I'm also in the PhD program with an emphasis in epidemiology, public health epidemiology. And I'm also on my 2nd quarter for dissertation as well, so working on that right now. And that's it. All right. Okay, so we can continue with the webinar now. As far as contacting the peer mentors, as you guys students have already found out, you can contact us easily on the study group area, or the SGA is what I call it. The study group area, we frequent that area pretty often, and you have access to us by asking us questions about your assignments or questions about your step-by-step guides, SPSS software, anything that you have a question about, we can answer your questions in the classroom. Also, if you prefer, you can contact us on a one-on-one basis by making an appointment. The link is listed on the slide there. It is waldenu.myyconline.com. You can go there and you can schedule an appointment, individual appointment with one of us, should you want to have a more individualized access to us. And also there's a link there to how to make an appointment, just in case you needed to do that. Patrick is putting the links on the chat area so that you can click on them easily, and you can learn how to make an appointment with us should you need an appointment. And also, excuse me?
I'm sorry. If you switch to my screen, Patrick, I have the WC Online up so they can see what it looks like.
Okay.
Okay. I just wanted you to see. A lot of students say they don't know what to click on or what it looks like. So I just wanted to show you real quick once you get in there, what it will look like. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eddie.
No, thank you, Kelly. That's good. It's good that you brought that up so they can be familiar with the site. When they actually click on it, they'll be familiar with it.
Yeah. And you can click on the time. You can click on the time there.
Let me go back.
Click on the box for the time that you want. The dark blue is the time that, wait a minute, is it the dark blue that's the time we're available? Yes.
Yes,
no,
the
it turns dark blue after the time is passed. Is that right? I'm losing my mind. Which is it, Patrick? Or Eddie, do you know?
It's the dark blue, Kelly.
Yeah, I think it's the dark.
I think someone actually has an appointment scheduled. This red here, someone has an appointment scheduled with Joelle, and so once you have an appointment scheduled, it will turn red.
Kelly,
so
click,
when it's
the OK button so we can see your screen? Because I switched it back to you.
I'm sorry. Can you see it now? Can you see it now?
Yep.
Okay.
There we go.
So you can see someone actually has an appointment scheduled here, this red box, with Joelle, who is in a different course than we're in. But once it turns red, when it is time for your appointment, you just click on that red box again and your appointment, your one-on-one appointment will start. And also make sure that College of Health Sciences is showing here in its drop-down. If you click on one of those other colleges, then you won't see us over on the left here. Oh, I'm sorry. But you'll see Dragon, Eddie, myself, and Patrick here in the left side in our availability. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, we're going to switch back to the slides. Okay.
Okay, so Pat did place those slides onto the chat area. So if you need to, get those, access those, you can get them from there. There's the email. If there's a third option, you can email us at statsupports@waldenu.edu, and we will also have about a 24-hour turnaround time for that, but we'll respond to your questions there as well. All right. For SPSS installation, of course, you guys know, the students should know that we're using SPSS as our software in the classroom, and it's a program that's used to analyze statistical data. One of the first things that you should do is you should retrieve an SPSS license from the Walden U library, and there's the link to be able to do that. And once you have the link, or your licensing code, then you can go click on your SPSS installation steps. You can click on, in the classroom, it's the IBM SPSS software. It's the furthest left, on the left panel of your window. If you click on that link, it will take you to the steps to download the SPSS software to your computer. Of course, it's compatible for both Mac computers and PCs. And in the same area, you can it'll also give you steps to update an expired code, which is, of course, located in the classroom. The SPSS datasets that are used in biostats are a .save file, and they're usually zipped, and they're found in the doc sharing area of the classroom. You can simply go to your doc sharing area. It's, again, on the far left-hand panel of your window, and click on the files that you require, and then unzip your files. There's also, SPSS has a great built-in tutorial so that those students that require a little bit more assistance or a little bit more, training to use the SPSS software, you can review that tutorial to better acquaint yourself with the tutorial, with the software, and the different modalities that the software has to offer.
Okay, I think that this one is me, getting started using SPSS. And you can switch to...
Control again, Kelly.
Okay. All right, so getting started using SPSS, there are 2 ways that you can get into SPSS. You can go through if you've already downloaded the data set folder to your computer, you can go through that way and click on that particular file, the .save file, and it will automatically open SPSS for you. Or you can click on the SPSS program on your computer, and it will open up. And don't be alarmed if it takes several seconds, and I do mean several, to open up. There's days when mine opens up right away. There are days like today where it took almost a minute for mine to open up. And actually I found out that the reason it was not opening up was because I needed to redo my license. And I actually just did that, and it's still up on my window. So I just, well, it was still up. I was going to show it to you, but I don't see it anymore. So never mind. Oh, here it is. The licensing code. When you click on that link that Eddie shared with you a little earlier to get your licensing code, this is what pops up on your screen. And so you just copy and paste that licensing code. When you're installing SPSS, one of the steps actually asks you for your licensing code. And so each person's code is different. So if you're having a problem with your code, you know, don't share it with anyone else for them to use it, because it will only work for one person. I've had that problem a few times with students not being able to use SPSS, and it was because they were trying to use a code that someone had shared with them. But each of you have a code. You just go through the library to get it, that link, like Eddie shared before. Okay, so back to the opening SPSS. When you open it, it will look like so, and ask you what would you like to do. And so you will click on open an existing data source. And as you can see in this box, I have several data sets that I've already used. If you scroll over, you'll see them here. And so that's why those are there. Right now, yours may be blank. And so what you would do is choose open an existing data source and click OK. Or if it's already here in the box, the one you want to use, you can just double click on it and it will open SPSS for you. And this is what it will look like. Or as I said before, you can just go to that actual program, the SPSS program, and double click on it and it will open. Or you can go to the actual file. Let's see, where are my data sets? You can go to the actual data set file and click on one of them and open it. And it's just like using another, like a Word program. Just like in Word, you can click on the Word document and it will open Word for you, or you can actually open Word and then go to File, New Data, and open the data set that you want. So those are the couple of ways that you can actually open SPSS. Again, I think I already showed that to you. Once you get into SPSS, there are two screens, the data editor and the output. The data editor screen actually displays the content of the data file, and this is where you'll choose the test that you need to run and do any editing you need to do before you run those tests. The output screen actually shows you the results from those analyses. Inside of that data editor screen, there's the data view and the variable view, and I'll actually show that to you. In the data view, there are columns and rows. Let's see if I can flip my screen so I can show you this at the same time. On the data view, and this is the data set you're using this week, actually, alcohol_bladder CA.save, I think, in the step-by-step guide. And so this is what that looks like. And I believe, can you see that my screen is split? I'm not sure if it's coming up right. Patrick, is it showing correctly?
Yeah, we see the data set on one side and the slide on the other.
All right. So in the data view, like I said before, you have columns and rows. These rows, 1 through 23, I think you should be able to see on my screen. Those are actually the actual observations. And what I mean by observation is if you have 50, or in this case, if you have what you can see is 23 participants. If you have 23 participants, each one of these rows goes with one participant. So participant 1 or observation 1 had 1 under this variable, which is alcohol consumption. And as you can see, if you hover your mouse over the row, the column header at the top, it'll tell you what that column represents. So this is alcohol consumption. So observation 1 or participant 1 is under that, has 1 for that variable. They're 54 years old. They're in the 4 income group. And of course, we don't know what 4 income group is, but if we were the researcher, we would know exactly. But if you go over to the variable view, you can pull up the variables and get more information on them. And while it tells you that income one is lowest and 5 is the highest, we don't know specifically what those the amounts are. But like I said, we're not the researcher, and so if you were the researcher and you were using SPSS, you would know that information. For alcohol consumption, you can pull this up and see that 1 is 4 more drinks per month, and 2 is less than 4 drinks per week. I'm not sure why I'm not getting 3 and 4. You should be, I believe there should be more than, I may have a corrupted data set, but as you can see for income, I only show 1 through 5. But you should, 1 and 5, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 when you click on that. If I'm not mistaken, when you look at it. I may be looking at an old data set. And again, the other information you get in variable view, the type of variable it is, the label, the values missing. If any of the participants didn't answer the question, you would see that it was missing here. Someone didn't answer the question, but as you can see, everyone answered the question. Here you can see the measure of each variable. If it's a nominal variable, scale variable, ordinal variable, it would be there. So you can learn a little bit about each variable here in the variable view. Next slide. Once you get your data, your information, run your analysis, and I'll just do a quick frequency. And I think in your step-by-step guide, it'll walk you through doing this. But I just run frequencies of alcohol consumption so you can see what it will look like. Your step-by-step guide will walk you through doing that. All I did was go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and Frequencies. And the output screen pops up. And these, again, are the 2 screens you'll have in SPSS. The data editor, which is this screen, and then the output, which once you run your test, this will pop up. So the question was, what do you do with this output now that you have it? And so in order to turn this into the classroom, and there may be several other tests you had to run. You may have had to do a graph of this information, whatever information you had to turn in. And your step-by-step guide, again, will walk you through doing that. Once you have all of your output, you just come here to File, Export, and you click on Export, and this box will pop up. You choose what type of document you want to export it into, and so I believe you should always be choosing to do it as a DLC, Word document, or if you're using, I think some instructors don't mind using a PDF file. I'm not sure about anything else. I haven't encountered that, but if you just choose the Word document, here you see a file name. What you want to do is choose the actual name you want to name it. And you can go, I put everything in a Walden actual biostats folder, so it's easy to find later on. So when you do this output, make sure you're saving it somewhere that you can find later. And so you just type in the file name, click Save, and then you see that that pops up here in this box. And then you can just click OK. Also, you have some options here, and one of those options is wide pivot table. And so if you have a long table in your output, you can choose to wrap that table to fit within your page margin. If you trying to open that up for you. For some reason, it's not popping up. Maybe it has something to do with the problems I was having earlier with this, but you should be able to change that. Oh, here it is, change options. I'm sorry. But wide pivot tables, you see you can choose to shrink it to fit within the page margins, or you can wrap the table. Wrapping the table will cut it off, so you don't have one long table on your page. So whatever I guess you're comfortable with. I don't know if you're in instructor minds. I guess you could ask them which way they prefer. But if you shrink it to fit within the margin, that will ensure that it comes out all in one, on one row. You can just press continue. And again, that's under your options. And once you click OK, a Word document has been created. And then you can go back through your files and found that document that you created. And to prepare your document to turn in, once you're in the classroom and you go to the area to turn your document in the application area here, moving pretty slow for me tonight. I'm not sure why I am in a storm, so maybe that has something to do with my internet connection. But at any rate, once you turn that application in, here we go. Make sure you choose and it's probably in your first quarter of courses. So just like your other courses, you want to choose the right name. And that's, here's an example, App 2, Bears K. Also in your output screen, you'll notice a lot of notes in the output. And so you don't need to turn in all of the notes that's in your output. So if all you were supposed to turn in was a table, you can just turn in this table, the alcohol consumption table. These notes here, once you have that output saved and open, you can delete that out or just, well, you want to keep that information. So what I would personally do is make 2 copies of your output. One that you delete all of the information that you don't need to turn in, and one that's the output, the original output with all of the notes and everything here. And the reason I say you want to keep this is because if you have a problem with your assignment and you need help from one of your peer mentors, if you send us your complete output, we may be able to look at all of the notes in the output and figure out what went wrong. So while you would just turn in this table or whatever it is you're supposed to turn, your assignment is asking for, in one document, make sure you're keeping this output so that we can refer back to it if you have a problem later on. And of course, after you have that output, make sure that the tables from your output that you're going to turn in with your application, you can type into that Word document the answers or any interpretation of that output. And so with this particular output, we see that there were a total of 221 observations. And so your output may mention that 62% of the participants drank, and I forget what one was, but let's look. Under alcohol consumption, one represented 4 or more drinks per month. So when you're interpreting this output, you may want to state that 62% of the participants drank 4 or more drinks per month. You don't want to just turn in this table and not interpret it. So that's just an example of interpreting the information that's in your table. Okay. I think this is, I skipped something. Again, the interpretation of the findings. I just went over that. In your step-by-step guide, and I think I have one up. In your step-by-step guide, you'll notice at the end of the guide, you'll see this interpretation. And so when you're answering your application problem for the week, notice that in the step-by-step guide, there are examples of how to interpret it. For example, this says this histogram shows that age ranges from 20 to 64 with the mean somewhere between 30 and 40. And so that's, and so on. And that's the interpretation of that graph. So again, you don't want to just turn in the graph or the table. You want to interpret it. And again, examples of that interpretation are in the step-by-step guide. Another thing that you want to make sure you do is read all of the resources for the week, and that will also help you understand the results you got in your output and what you need to, and how you should interpret them. Okay. The step-by-step guides, again, that was an example that I had of this step-by-step guide up. And the step-by-step guides are just an example. And so this is for, that's week 2, but let me pull up week 1 step-by-step guide. Notice in the first paragraph here of the step-by-step guide, well, week 1 is a little different. Let me scroll down to the part where you'll use SPSS. If you notice, it tells you here, in the application assignment, you'll be using BD1.phase in the variable age group. But in this step-by-step guide, they're using alcohol_bladder CA.phase. And so don't be alarmed when you do your application and it doesn't look exactly like the step-by-step guide looks, because you're using a different data set and a different variable. What I would recommend is going through the step-by-step guide and using the example the step-by-step guide uses first so you can get a hang of it, and then go back and use the data set and variable that the instructions for the application tell you to use. But again, step-by-step guide is just an example, and it tells you how to complete the problem in SPSS step-by-step, but using a different data set. So again, just make sure you're substituting the correct data set. So in step 1, you see it says in the data set to open alcohol bladder.phase. So if the instructions say use BD1.phase, here you just substitute this as the one you need to open. And I know I'm drilling that in, but that's a problem several weeks into the course, that you want to make sure that you are using the right step-by-step guide.
And just to add to
and
that, the step-by-step guide really is a very helpful tool. So, some of you, in week 1, you're still kind of confused and nervous about the course. Probably the first thing I would, after you've read the text is go to the step-by-step guide and just, read through it and then use the step-by-step guide as a guide as you're, working on your application assignments, because it's going to be very helpful. Even though it's a different data set and different variables, the approach to the assignment is going to be pretty much the same.
Right. Absolutely. And the step-by-step guide is found in the study group area of the classroom. So when you're in the classroom and you click on study group area, it'll come up in the introduction to the study group area. So you can just click on the link, and mine is moving slow, but once that does come up, you can just click on the link for study group area, and I'm sorry, not the link for study group area, the link for step-by-step guide. Here it is. Prepare for this week's study group area review the step-by-step guide for week 1. And so you can just click on that, and I would suggest saving all of these to your computer and printing them out. And I say print them out so you can have them actually in your hand when you're doing the application assignment. And just in case, like my screen split, and so I can have it side by side. But, if your screen doesn't split like that, you can have it right there beside you. And also when you get ready to do the final, you will be able to use those step-by-step guides when you're working on your final exam, and you'll want to have them handy. So I would suggest just going ahead and printing them out each week.
And Kelly, for me, the step-by-step guide is helpful in 2 ways. One is it actually walks you through exactly how to set up the SPSS problem. So just do it like it even shows on the screen. There's a step 1. Usually there's a step 2. It'll show you exactly how to do it. But then also take a look at how the step-by-step guide does the interpretation. Okay, so as Kelly mentioned, you don't want to just export your table or your output. You also are going to need to answer the questions. And the step-by-step guide is also a really good model for how to approach the interpretation of the problems.
Yeah. And again, there's that interpretation in the step-by-step guide for week 1 under the income table. And again, like I said, something was wrong with mine, and you only saw one in the 5 or 2 and 5. I forget what it was. But actually, it will have in the table that if you were to run this alcohol bladder data set, it will look like this. I think I was using an old data set. But yours should have all of these, 1 through 5. Well, it's here to say lowest through highest. But because mine was corrupted, an old one, it didn't show that. But yours would look like that. And again, that's just for the example in the step-by-step guide if you choose to work through it. Okay.